Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning virtual service. My name is Reverend James Parker, and it's just such a pleasure to be here with you today, and a great time for us to come into a moment of oneness with Spirit. Well, we've got a lot to cover today, and I'm going to jump right in. Our daily word for today is world peace, and it says, celebrating diversity and affirming unity, I am a presence of peace in the world. The road to world peace begins with my open-hearted acceptance of those who are different than me. Our world is vast and diverse, and its people come from a wide variety of cultures and histories. The more I learn about those whose lives differ from mine, the more I can appreciate their perspectives and empathize with their struggles. When I make the decision to understand others, I discover that judgment fades in the light of compassion. Today, I sow peace through my acceptance and understanding. Peace in the world grows as I join my brothers and sisters in celebrating the glory of human diversity and affirming oneness in God. And the scripture comes from the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 4. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Now let's take a moment and go into the silence as we come into a moment of oneness with one another. And so it is.
Will your heart and soul say yes? your heart and say yes. If you really want to know love, say yes. Say yes. Say it if you feel it.
Well, good morning and welcome to our virtual service. My name is Reverend James Parker. Just such a pleasure to be here with you today, and we've got a lot to cover. My lesson title today is Cultivating Compassion. Friends, as we find ourselves in the throes of Lent, a season of change and transformation, now's the time more than ever to sink ourselves into a spiritual consciousness that gives rise to our greater aspirations and goals. And to achieve these aspirations and goals, we must first challenge ourselves to become our very best selves. And there's no better self-driving force than the gift of compassion toward ourselves and others. This week, we'll embark on a journey of transformation and love using this wonderful power of benevolence and care so that we may become better instruments of peace, love, prosperity, and joy. So what is compassion? According to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, compassion is an aspiration, a state of mind, wanting others to be free from suffering. It's not passive, it's not empathy alone, but rather an empathetic altruism that actively strives to free others from suffering. He goes on to say, genuine compassion must have both wisdom and loving kindness. That is to say, one must understand the nature of the suffering from which we wish to free others. This is wisdom. And one must experience deep intimacy and empathy with other sentient beings. This is loving kindness. Compassion asks us to look into our own hearts, discover what gives us pain, and then refuse under any circumstance whatsoever to inflict that pain on anybody else. In the book of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8, it says, finally, all of you, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. Tell me, friends, what could you do today to bring comfort to another and thus make the world a better place? Compassionate acts are generally considered by those that take into account the suffering of others and attempts to alleviate that suffering as if it were one's own, to show special kindness to those who feel pain. In this sense, the golden rule is clearly based on the concept of compassion. Do not treat others as you would not like them to treat you. or in its optimistic form, always treat others as you would wish to be treated yourself. Friends, compassion differs from other forms of human behavior in that its focus is predominantly on the alleviation of grief, sorrow, anguish, distress, or affliction. Why develop compassion in your life? Well, scientific studies suggest that people who practice it produce 100% more DHEA. And DHEA is a hormone that your body naturally produces in the adrenal gland. The benefits include strengthening the immune system, slowing natural changes in the body that come with age, decreased stress, providing more energy, improving mood and memory, building up bone and muscle strength. But there are other benefits as well, and they are both emotional and spiritual. The main benefit, though, is that it helps you to be happier and makes others around you happier. Mary is having a terrible headache that just won't go away. So she goes to her minister to see if there's anything he can do. She whines and cries and talks for hours, not only about her headache, but about her terrible living conditions as well. All of a sudden, after she finishes talking, Mary shouts overjoyed, "Reverend, I think your holy presence has cured me. The headache is completely gone." To which the minister responds, No, Mary, it's not gone. I have it now." Friends, the basis of compassion is Latin meaning co-suffering. More involved than simple empathy, compassion commonly gives rise to a desire to alleviate another's limited thinking and negative circumstances. It's not pity which separates us from another's suffering. Compassion opens our hearts and connects us to that individual in a certain way. It's not sympathy, which is simply recognition of another's lack. It looks beyond the lack and the personality to the desire of the other person to rise above their lack. The unknown author writes, "Sympathy looks in and says, 'I'm sorry.' Compassion goes in and says, 'I'm with you.' Sympathy looks in and says, 'I would like to help.' Compassion goes in and says, 'I'm here to help.' Sympathy says, 'I wish I could carry your burden.' Compassion says, 'Cast your burden on me.' Sympathy often irritates with many words. Compassion helps and hears in quietness and understanding. The compassionate person does not cry when others cry, but uses the energy that they would waste in tears to stretch forth their hands in encouragement to the one in need. Beyond the tears, compassion gives comfort. Beyond the seeming pain, compassion sees the yearning for well-being. Beyond the loneliness, compassion establishes the desire for friendship, giving kindness and understanding. Compassion does not judge by appearances. It always looks beyond them to the higher self within and declares the truth of its being. It sees the Christ within every soul and calls for freedom from pain and misery. Jesus said in the book of Luke chapter 6, verse 36, "You must be compassionate, just as your Father is compassionate." Jesus demonstrated compassion throughout his ministry, especially to those who were considered castaways or outsiders. The poor, damaged, physically and mentally ill, as well as the heartbroken, lepers, Samaritans, Gentiles, tax collectors, sinners, those struck by disaster, and even women who fell to the bottom of society at that time. He openly rejected the system that dictated who had the rights and who didn't, who was to be acknowledged and who wasn't, and who one could speak to, eat and drink with, touch, help, defend, or befriend. Marcus Borg said, compassion for Jesus was political. He directly and repeatedly challenged the dominant social-political paradigm of his social world and advocated instead for what might be called a politics of compassion. Jesus demonstrated again and again that the letter of human-made law is less important than the Spirit of God's law, which is love and compassion. He said, "Love one another as I have loved you." This Christ presence within us wants us to care for each other. It wants our deepest level of understanding. Yes, compassion was one of Jesus' remarkable qualities. Today, let's look at 6 practices to incorporate into our daily life that will help us cultivate compassion. First, number 1, greet each morning with a routine. The Dalai Lama suggests that we come up with something that allows us to start the day powerfully. He proposes something like this: "Today, I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. I am not going to waste it. I am going to use all my energies to develop myself, to expand my heart out to others, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. I am going to have kind thoughts toward others. I am not going to get angry or think badly about others. I am going to benefit others as much as I can." Number 2, practice empathy. The first step in cultivating compassion is to develop empathy for your fellow human beings. Imagine your own moments of suffering in life, those times when something made you feel terrible and alone. Think of how awful it felt. By imitating that feeling again and again, you can cultivate or feel what someone else may be going through and better understand their feelings. John Steinbeck said, "You can only understand people if you feel them in yourself." Number 3, practice commonalities. Instead of recognizing the differences between yourself and others, try to recognize what you have in common instead and ignore the differences. One of my favorite exercises comes from a great article from Old Magazine. It's a 5-step exercise to try when you meet friends and strangers. Step 1, just like me. This person is seeking happiness in his or her life. Step 2, just like me. This person is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. Step 3, just like me. This person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Step 4, just like me. This person is seeking to fill his or her needs. Step 5, just like me. This person is learning about life. These steps are geared toward finding common ground with others. Check it out. Number 4, practice alleviating suffering. Theodore Roosevelt said, "No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care." Once you can empathize with another person and understand their challenges and suffering, the next step is to want that person to be free from the suffering. This is the heart of compassion. Actually, it's the definition of it. Here, you must open your heart and mind and act deeply and lovingly with what you know. Step 5, practice acts of kindness. Practice doing something small each day to help end the suffering of others, even in a tiny way, even if it's a smile or a kind word, or doing an errand or chore, or just talking about a problem with another person. Find a way to make it a daily practice. Zero Dean said, "If you want more kindness in the world, put some there." Number 6, practice having compassion for those who mistreat you. The last stage is to not only want to ease the suffering of those we love and meet, but even those who mistreat us. Instead of acting in anger when someone mistreats you, imagine the experiences of that person. Imagine what that person was taught as a child. Imagine the day or week that person has had and what kind of bad things happened to that person. Imagine the suffering that person must have been going through to mistreat you that way. And understand that their action was not about you, but about what's going on inside of them. Then see if you can imagine trying to stop the suffering of that person. Once you have mastered this practice, try acting with compassion and understanding the next time a person mistreats you. In The Art of Happiness, it says, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive." Friends, compassion is the most powerful force in the world. It can defeat indifference, intolerance, and injustice. It can replace judgment with acceptance because it makes no distinction between age, ethnicity, gender, or disability. It freely embraces the rich diversity of humanity by treating everyone as equals. It benefits both those who receive it and those who share it. Ultimately, every person on earth desires it, and every human being deserves it. Mohsin Hamid said, "Compassion is about finding echoes of another person in yourself." Begin now. Enjoy a life based on compassion that will lead you on a fulfilling journey. You will experience a deep sense of joy in your efforts to improve lives. You will quickly understand how rewarding life can be. You will bring hope and opportunity to those facing challenges. And you will learn to feel good about yourself for attempting to be a part of the solution. Why? Because you will have embraced a cause that is bigger than your own small personal issues. If you begin to fill your life with compassion, I promise you, you will develop increasing awareness of humanity, wholeness, wealth, love, peace, and joy. Friends, step up today with compassion. Are you willing to do this with me today? Well, thank you all, and God bless you.
I'm a stranger in a strange land, but somehow I feel connection to the sand. We all look like family. We share the same blood and we share the same needs. We are people of the sun. We come from different places, but yet we still are one. We dance to the same beat. If we learn to love each other, our lives will be free. The world is a family. Yeah, yeah. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Hey, hey, hey. Let's give each other what we need. Give each other what we need. More love, more love, more love, more love. Two fishes in two different seas. They swim the same water and they share enemies. We live in two different countries. We speak in different tongues, but there's love in our faces. Everyone in every domain. Born with the same blood, running in blue veins. We all share the same spirit. We use the voice of love, and we know when we hear it. The world is a family. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Yeah. Let's give each other what we need. Give each other what we need. More love, more love, more love, more love. The world is a family. Is a family. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Yeah. Let's give each other what we need. Give each other what we need. More love, more love, more love. From Asia to Africa, to India, to home. From Asia, from Africa, to India, to home. From Asia, from Africa, to India, to home. From Asia, from Africa, to India, to home. The world is a family. Come on, children. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Yeah. Let's give each other what we need. Give each other what we need. More love, more love, more love, more love. The world is a family. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Let's give each other what we need. Give each other what we need. More love, more love, more love, more love. to India, to India, to home, from Asia, from Africa, to India, to home, from Asia, from Africa, to India, to home. The world is a family now. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Let's give each other what we need. Give each other what we need. We need more love, more love, more love, more love. The world is a family now. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Let's give each other what we need. Give each other what we need. More love, more love, more love, more love. The world is a family now. We're all a family. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Brothers, sisters, you and me. Yeah. Let's give each other what we need. Got to give each other what we need. More love, more love, more love, more love. To home, to home, to home.
Well, we've come to that time in our service where we open our hearts to give. And this is a great time for us to come forth with prosperity, life, and love. Now, I ask that you become open to the expression of your own prosperity. When you give, you shall receive. Now, there are three ways that you can give. You can go to our website and hit the contribute button, or you can text us at 773-492-8772, or always send us a check to 2650 West Montrose, Suite 110, Chicago, Illinois, 60618. Now take that offering, take that gift, and send energy from your heart into that gift. And let us say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, richly flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful for the blessings of this day. I am grateful for the blessings on the way. And so it is. Friends, if you prayed that prayer with us, you are moving energy. You are moving substance. Now, get yourself prepared. Open the way for your gifts to come. Be ready to receive. Now, let us take a moment and pray them into existence. Heavenly Mother, Father, everything God, thank you for these gifts that we received today. Thank you for coming forth in your most perfect way. Use these gifts in any way you see fit and then return them to the giver 100-fold, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Fill their bank accounts, fill their wallets, remove any burden, any debt, any inconsequence from their lives. Now open the way for them to receive, God. Now thank you. Thank you for all your gifts. Thank you for your light. Thank you for your love. We see it happening now in the name and nature of Jesus the Christ. And so it is. Amen.
Your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be counted. Don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad. You gotta be bold. You gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard. You gotta be tough. You gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Herald what your mother said, reading the books your father read. Try to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you, others take a different view. My, you gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Time asks no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand the pace. The world keeps on spinning, you can't stop it if you try to. This time it's danger staring you in the face. Remember, listen as your day unfolds. Challenge what your future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Oh my, yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. I know. Gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. Gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. Gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Yeah, you gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. Love will save the day.
Well, friends, thank you for being here with us today. If you're new, welcome to our home. Welcome to our community. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. Please come back. And if you're going through something, if you have a struggle in your life, go to our website at unitychicago.org. Look for a sermon or a meditation, something there to fulfill you, to open you up, to inspire you. And if you like what you see today, hit the like button, hit the little bell, subscribe, something, come forth in a way that allows us to share our gifts. And stick around to the end of the service. We have some great opportunities and possibilities for you. Check out our announcements. And now I ask that you become still. And let us say our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Well, Unity and friends, thank you. Be blessed. We'll see you soon.